2023 Modesto City Council meeting to order and ask the city clerk to call the roll.
Councilmember Scutia-Brayton.
Aye.
Councilmember Alvarez.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Ricky. Councilmember Bavaro.
Aye.
Councilmember Williams.
Aye.
Councilmember Wright.
Aye.
And Mayor Zwollen.
Aye. Will everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by the invocation from Pat Nagel from Redeemer. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Will you bow in prayer with me? Lord, we just want to come before you and just say thank you for your goodness and your grace that covers us this morning or this evening. Even just having shelter from the cold and having the technology to be able to join the meeting from afar, Lord, there's just so much grace we have here. We pray that as our leadership meets and the council gathers with the agenda together for our city, Lord, would you just guide them with leadership and wisdom and discernment? Lord, would you bestow your grace, your kindness, and your wisdom upon us. And we pray, Lord, that this would just be a positive meeting for the sake of our city. We pray that kindness and patience would exist in this evening's meeting. And Lord, would all the agenda be treated with the wisdom and discernment, item by item, that it deserves. We thank you, and it's in your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
Does the city clerk have any announcements?
Yes, Mayor. Just a reminder, public comment is limited to 3 minutes. There are blue speaker cards located at the entrance of the council chambers. In addition, a request was received to remove item 11 from consent.
Thank you. Do any of the council members have any conflicts of interest? Seeing none, first item on the agenda is a proclamation declaring March 17th through March 27th as Caltrans Community Days spring into action. And I will read the proclamation. This is proclaiming March 17th through the 27th, 2023 as Caltrans Community Days spring into action. Clean California Community Days are organized by the California Department of Transportation, Caltrans, to invest in removing litter, creating jobs, educating the public, and engaging the community to transform unsightly roadsides into spaces of pride for Californians. The first Community Days event of 2023 is Spring into Action from March 17th to 27th, a collaborative effort to provide local dump days, community cleanups, tree plantings, and other beautification efforts for California public spaces. The City of Modesto partners with Caltrans on various cleanup efforts and would like to support Community Days Spring into Action by planning community blight abatement activities in conjunction with this event. As such, the City of Modesto has planned a hazardous waste drop-off event for March 18th, 2023, and a drive-up drop-off event for March 25th, 2023. The City of Modesto will also support any community group beautifying their neighborhood or public space by providing supplies and disposal of collected waste to encourage local action during Community Days. Now, therefore, the Modesto City Council hereby proclaims March 17th through March 27th as Caltrans Community Days spring into action and encourages all residents, businesses, civic groups, government agencies, and other organizations to participate by helping to clean and beautify our community. And accepting this award this evening is Marlon Regisford from Caltrans Deputy Director of Planning. Welcome. Environmental and Local Assistance, and also Mariah Hill, Public Works Recycling Program Coordinator. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor and City Council. I'm pleased to announce this collaboration with Caltrans for Clean California Community Days spring into action. During that time, the city is supporting community litter cleanups and hosting 2 drop-off events, one for household hazardous waste and one for furniture, appliances, tires, and e-waste. These events and our collaboration with Caltrans is part of a larger effort by the city to prioritize beautification and blight reduction. Beginning in 2020, under the guidance of the Blight Abatement Strategy, the city has devoted time and resources to preventing blight. Throughout our community, we are seeing streets clear of illegal dumping, sidewalks free of litter, unhoused individuals engaged in community improvement through DST, Ready to Work, and Camp to Home, and so much more. Our efforts seek to make public spaces more beautiful and useful to Modesto's residents, which is the primary goal of the Governor's Clean California program. With that, I'd like to introduce Marlon Regisford, District 10 Deputy Director of Planning, Environmental, and Local Assistance, to receive this proclamation on behalf of Caltrans.
Thank you, Mariah. Madam Mayor, council members, I'm very excited to accept this declaration on behalf of Caltrans District 10, representing the long-lasting partnership between Caltrans and the City of Modesto. District 10 Director Dennis Agar regrets that he's not able to make it here tonight. He's unfortunately under the weather and getting back up to speed. However, he wanted to express his sincere thank you and appreciation to the City of Modesto Council and Mayor Wallen for the continued partnership. And also special shout out to Council Member Ms. Gutierrez as well. We appreciate your partnership. And just want to point out as well, the goal of Clean California is to work together and to clean up our communities and keep them clean. Community Days is a call to action meant to inspire volunteerism throughout the state while educating the public about the impact that litter has on our communities. We encourage everyone here in the city to participate by organizing a litter cleanup event in your community during the Clean California Community Days, which will take place between March 17th and March 27th. We'd like to be there with you and to promote your event. So thank you so much, Council and Ms. Mayor. We appreciate it, and thank you for the time again.
All right, we will come down to present the proclamation, and thank you for being here. It's really delightful to have you in person after 2 years of Zoom meetings.
Agreed.
It's great. Welcome to Modesto. All right. Next is a public comment period. Does anyone wish to speak on any item under public comment? This is for items not on the council agenda, and each person has 3 minutes to speak. So far, I have, I have 2 blue cards, but one is for public comment at this time, and I see 2 online. So First, we will have Steve Allen.
I'm sure by now it's very obvious to you guys the huge, stark, obvious, like elementary difference between what the rules on the website say about public comment time and what Mayor Suze Wallen has told certain members of the community for a while now. And you don't show any signs of giving a damn. And so I don't expect you to come clean or to be real with me or to even give me an explanation maybe of why I'm just confused. You don't give a damn. No one wants to hold you to task for blatantly lying. And what sucks to me is what's behind it, because I see you doing that for other people. It's like you're trying to taunt me like you're a middle schooler or something. I'm not sure. But you guys just can't talk about the fact that our police department has a disgusting track record and they kill members of the community. And I just would like to give you a chance, because you guys are allowed to speak up. And I don't care what bully among you is telling you can't. I would like to hear your thoughts on the fact that our district attorney, our outgoing district attorney, in her public statement, described the event that took place when Modesto police officer Sam Muncie murdered Paul Chavez in a completely inaccurate, dishonest way, leaving out key events. When Muncie showed up on the scene, Paul Chavez was laying on the grass in the shade, and Muncie had his gun pointed at him the moment he arrived. 23 seconds, I believe it was, later, he shot and killed him, though he made no attempt to harm them whatsoever. That short amount of time, as well as the fact that Muncie showed up with his gun pointed at him, key events that would affect the way the public perceives this murder were intentionally omitted, and I would like to know from you guys if you have anything that you would like to share about that. Because you are legally allowed to talk. Does it not bother you? Have you guys watched the video? Do you think that a cop in this town should be able to shoot us if they just feel like it when there's no threat to their safety? Do you think that sloppy policing is not important? You think the only things that we should be up in arms about are like super blatant murders, like the murder of Trevor Seaver and the murder of Paul Chavez? Do you guys really think anyone's convinced that there is not a problem in our community that needs direct addressing? Nothing but silence. And in 22 seconds, the mayor will say, "Thank you for your comments. Next we have, you guys sicken me. We're talking about state-sponsored murder, and you guys have nothing to say. Give me a break. Are you sure you don't want to share some thoughts on such a serious issue?" No, I figured you wouldn't. You guys do not represent this community. You have power, but you lack authority. You make me sick.
Next online is Ramon Rodriguez.
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Once again, I've checked on the Modesto Police Department's Instagram page, and what I've noticed is that every time there's an incident involving officer-involved shootings, especially of Trevor Seaver and Paul Chavez, and also you might not remember, but before the death of Tyre Nichols, it happened 2 years prior against Alonso Nunez by 4 of your officers who, and they're still on the job, never been held accountable, especially Officer Dustin Espinosa. But this is not his first time that he beat Alonso Nunez. He beat another person almost 2 years prior. That he was also a subject of a federal lawsuit, as well as Modesto Police Department, and you guys still don't do nothing. Well, let me give you what's happening on the comments on your police department's Instagram page. On January, there was a car accident, and a victim by the name of Kiaria Kalin, I'm not sure if I pronounced her name right. She's been a victim of a crime because all she was doing is asking for insurance information for the people who crashed her car. And when she asked for insurance, the people just beat up And you know what she did? She called 911, and she had on the phone and to hear the operator what's going on. She was being beaten and attacked by the people who caused the car accident and doing felony stuff. And once the police arrived, instead of providing comfort and justice, they detained her and they arrested her husband like they were treated by a bunch of criminals. Yet the people responsible for the car accident, they got away despite committing various felonies and possibly DUIs or something. They got away with it. And this is traumatizing for her and her family, especially her husband being sent to jail for a crime he did not commit, and traumatizing her children and also her. Yet police didn't do nothing. They just treated her like a criminal instead of a real crime victim, and let the real criminals getting away. And you guys still haven't read the comments on the Instagram page. The people are demanding justice for D'Aria Kalen, because all they're asking is for you guys to uphold the law and provide and hold these people who beat her accountable. But you guys failed, and it just shows that the Modesto Police Department is a failure of a police department. It's the worst out of the Central Valley, and you guys still don't hold officers like Dustin Espinosa. I've been warning you guys. He might be the next Joseph Lamatia if he hurts someone else. And this is a really concern. And this is going to be really bad because there are going to be a lot of lawsuits when this keeps happening, and we don't want any more miscreants in the force. So you guys need to clean up the police department. It's like a swamp. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
You're welcome. Next is Teresa Clutter.
Hello.
Hi there.
Hi. This is Justice for Paul Chavez. We are still seeking justice and accountability for Paul Chavez, who was murdered by Samuel Adam Muncie and Sergio Valencia on July 14th, 2022. To date, we are at 7.5 months since my son has been killed, and yet we still have not heard from anybody from this community. Not even, I'm sorry for your loss, and this is an situation. We haven't even gotten that. We've gotten absolutely no respect whatsoever. In fact, I just feel like we just constantly get spit on and slapped around, because to date, nobody does anything. You don't do anything about Trevor Seaver. You don't do anything about Alonzo Nunez. You don't do anything about my son, Paul Chavez. You didn't do anything about the girl who was beaten from the car accident, which I did see her. She has a TikTok video out there, and I did see that, and I did hear her story, and I was disgusted by hearing that because of everything that is going on, Chief, everything that is going on in your city, sir. You're aware of this, and yet there's nothing done. Yet we're still waiting on Forward Together, that we have no idea when's that starting, what's going on with that, and still nothing is in place. So here we're going into March now, and we're still back in, I don't know, 1952 or something. So at this point, it's beyond frustrating, it's beyond disturbing, it's beyond disappointing at best that we live in a community that has zero fucks for their civilians and the people that pay taxes here. It's outrageous that you allow it. It's outrageous that you continue to allow it, because you're no better than the criminals. Because if you're not doing anything to change it and make it better, then you're the same. You all hang out together, you're all the same. So it doesn't matter. Somebody on that city council could have pulled the trigger. Would have made no difference, right? Because it would have been the same outcome. No accountability, no justice. Maybe I should apply for the police department. Maybe I can get some kind of special shield that allows me to do things I shouldn't do, things that are 100% wrong and immoral, and but yet I'll be able to do them and get away with it because I won't have any accountability. Must be a nice bus to be on, right? You just go around, kill people, beat them up, take the wrong people to jail, and everybody gets to go home and sleep well at night. I hope all the people, all the victims that have been murdered under your guys' care, I hope it torments you. Because until you fix it and correct it and make people be accountable and stand up and have a backbone, because I know if I was mayor, I wouldn't be settling for any BS. That's for damn sure. I would run that thing like a damn military. And if you got out of line, well then, hey, there's repercussions for that, right? And that's the way it should be. Y'all need to run this city like you're supposed to, and not how you want to.
Your time is up.
Thank you. JusticeForPaulChavez.com.
Next online is Brittany Chavez.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
I'm the wife of Paul Chavez. I don't know what else to say, because I mean, I can yell, I can curse, I can scream, I can do all these things. And it's like, you guys just don't care how the people really truly feel. Do you guys even go out there and check on your community, on your neighbors, on anybody? Did you guys watch that video? Because everyone I've known who's watched that video was disgusted by it. And the reaction remains the same. I watched that video so many times because I knew what I saw. And all about it was wrong. You have an officer, Samuel Muncie, who technically thinks he's like some freaking SWAT or something, because the way he came out there with his gun blazing and how he was squatted, because he only had one thing in mind, and that was to shoot and kill my husband. And it's wrong, and it's disgusting. And then you got Valencia out there, who just now is part of the K-9 unit. And you have so many other officers, because you don't hold your chief accountable. He's not even the chief. He's a piece of shit cop. Because the chief don't allow other people to do stuff like that. And what you guys need to do is make sure that your guys' cop, Gillespie, does his freaking job. Because it's not just the cops. It's not just Samuel Muncie. It's not just Valencia. It's not just La Matia. It's also your chief of police, who doesn't do anything about it. You guys have not talked about reform not one time. Nothing about reform, about retraining, about how, this needs to stop. What do we need to do? First things first, you should clean house in the police department because, there's a lot of corruption in there. So I don't understand why you guys can't do your guys' job. You guys make a paycheck to do your job. I remember in Tracy that there was some corruption going on. The mayor and some council members, they got together and they went into that police department and they pulled out whoever it was that they needed to pull out because they didn't want that on their hands. Do what's right, and do what's right for your community and for your people before it keeps happening. I urge you to tell the new district attorney to please pick up this case and look into it. Please sign our petition, Justice for Paul Chavez. Thank you.
How dare you call her stupid when your police murdered her husband? I saw that, Bavaro. Shame on you. That's tacky as hell. I can't believe you. That's disgusting. You say you can't speak,
Steve?
But you interrupted her by mouthing, calling her stupid. Her husband was murdered by these cops. Shame on you. That is so tacky. Disgusting.
Next online.
Don't call her stupid. Stare at me all you want, but you know what you did was wrong. And now you're laughing at me. Some leadership.
Steve.
Get your kids in check, Sue.
Okay, we want to continue with the meeting, so please,
Tell him not to interrupt
maintain.
the wife of a murder victim by calling her stupid while she speaks. And I will stop now.
Okay. All right, we're going to go on. Next online is PT.
Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, so I'm here talking about Paul Chavez, how he was murdered by Modesto police. You know, before Paul was murdered by Muncie, I had no idea. I was blind to the corruption going on in the city of Modesto, and I was blind to the corruption in Modesto Police Department. About 5 years back, I had a interview with the chief of police. It wasn't Gillespie to become a police officer, but they chose somebody else. Could have been, I don't know who they picked, but yeah, I was almost an officer, but thank God I wasn't, because in hindsight, you know, yeah. Well, anyways, what I just heard on here about the officer in the back wording stupid, that's outrageous. And the funny thing is, all I heard from you, Sue, was Steve. What the hell is wrong with you, Sue, that you can't say, hey, that wasn't right. You know, officer so-and-so, that wasn't right, you know? But instead, you guys are quiet because you're all in bed together. You guys are all, you know, you guys all have the same special interests, okay? Chief Gillespie, you suck. You are a glorified man-child.
Okay, we're going to cut you off if you continue with that.
Fuck you, Sue. Fuck you.
Okay, go ahead and cut him off. Yeah, thank you. All right. Do we have anyone?
Why they're traumatized. Instead of laughing at
All right,
these people,
Steve?
you murdered their loved ones.
Okay, we're going to continue with the meeting, but you're going to need to
Okay, he needs to
stop.
not interrupt as well.
Okay, you need to stop too.
So does he.
All right, so next we go to consent items, if there's no one else that wants to speak on public comment. Is there anyone else at this time that has any public comments? I do not see any hands raised, is that correct? And I do not see anyone in person. So next is consent. An item may be removed from consent and discussed at the request of a member of the public or council member. Is there anyone on the council that would like a consent item removed for further discussion? Seeing none, is there anyone in the public that would like an item removed from consent for further discussion or comment? We note that item 11 has been pulled by Jenny Knoyer on email. And, okay, and then the other one is for during later and when it's not a consent item. So at this time, I will confirm that there's no one else that would like anything online. Is there a hand raised?
I did see, member Jenny had raised their hand a few times. It may be the same as Jenny.
Okay. Jenny, did you want to make another comment? We've already pulled item 11.
Okay, now I'm unmuted, I think, right?
Yes, we can hear you, Jenny.
Okay. Yes, I didn't know if I had to comment that I wanted that item pulled, but then I heard you do it. So, yes, I just want to make sure it was pulled. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. All right, so it looks like that's it as far as hands raised for pulling consent items, and I don't see any other person in person that wants to. So will the city clerk please read the consent items?
Item 2, consider approving the minutes from the February 14th, 2023 council meeting. Item 3, consider approving final adoption of ordinance 3759 CS, amending section 3-2.140 1.1 of Article 14 of Chapter 2 of Title 3 of the Modesto Municipal Code related to speed limits. Item 4, consider terminating the local emergency in response to COVID-19. Item 5, consider supporting a House of Representatives bill to designate the facility of the United States Postal Service located at 2300 Sylvan Avenue in Modesto, California as a Corporal Michael D. Anderson Jr. Post Office building. Item 6, consider approving the First Amendment for the mayor's appointments and formatting changes to the City of Modesto City Council Liaison Committees list for the 2023 calendar year. Please note there was a revision to the City Council Committee liaison list, and that revised list is before the council and also available for the public. Item 7, consider approving a street name change from North Franklin Street to Kansas Avenue Extension to comply with Caltrans requirements and the project approval for SR 132 Phase 1. Item 8, consider directing staff to prepare and file the fiscal year 2023-2024 Engineers Annual Report for City of Modesto Landscape Maintenance Assessment District 1. Item 9, consider directing staff to prepare and file the fiscal year 2023-2024 Engineers Annual Report for the City of Modesto's Landscape Maintenance Assessment District 2. Item 10, consider directing staff to prepare and file the fiscal year 2023-2024 Engineers Annual Report for the City of Modesto Shackelford Landscape and Lighting District. Item 11 was removed from consent. Item 12, consider approving an increase for purchases from Amazon Business Marketplace pursuant to Omnia Cooperative Contract with Prince William Schools for an online market for products by the annual estimated amount of $205,000 for a revised annual estimated cost of $380,000 for a total revised amount not to exceed $2,417,581 over 8 years. Item 13, consider approving the award of proposal and agreements to Public Financial Management PFM Financial Advisors LLC out of San Francisco, California for municipal advisory services and PFM Swap Advisors LLC out of San Francisco for an annual derivative valuation report for a total amount not to exceed $900,000 over 6 years and rescinding resolution 2022-335. Item 14, consider approving updated pricing for 3 bid events for fleet replacement vehicles by $110,217. Item 15, consider approving the audited financial statements and various audit reports for fiscal year 2021-2022 audited by external auditors Hudson, Henderson and Company, Inc. for the city's annual comprehensive financial report, 12 community facility districts, Measure L, single audit, and other miscellaneous programs and joint power agencies. Item 16, consider approving an increase of the Director's Authority of contingency amount of $74,455 with Grundle Inc., DBA, Raise Electric, in an amount not to exceed $148,910 for the rectangular rapid flashing beacon installation project. Item 17, consider approving the plans and specs for the Loma Phase 3A Straighten and Replace Water Mains Project, accepting the bid and awarding a construction contract to United Pavement Maintenance, Inc. out of Houston in an amount of $6,229,282 plus $622,928 for contingency if needed for a total amount not to exceed $6,852,210, authorizing the increase in Director's Authority from 8% $498,343 to 10%, $622,928 of the construction contract price of $6,229,282 to issue change orders and amending the fiscal year 2022-2023 CIP budget in the amount of $2,379,021. Item 18, consider approving the increase of a purchase order for Bay City Electric Works out of Poway, California for rental a standby generator in an amount not to exceed $202,040.
Motion to approve all consent items except number 11.
Second.
All right, I have a motion from Councilmember Wright and a second from Councilmember Williams. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Scutia-Brayton.
Aye.
Councilmember Alvarez.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Ricky.
Aye.
Councilmember Bavaro. Aye. Councilmember Williams.
Aye.
Councilmember Wright.
Aye.
And Mayor Swallen.
Aye. The motion carries unanimously. Next, we will go back to item 11, consent item number 11, consider approving the citywide risk assessment prepared by Schoberg Eveshink Consulting Incorporated, and we will have a staff report. Welcome.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council, Deanna Christensen, Director of Finance. With the recent charter updates that were approved by the voters in November 2022, the updates included changes associated with the Office of City Auditor. With one of the core functions of this office, there was a requirement to ensure that we do perform a risk assessment to determine opportunities of efficiencies as well as employing best practices to be fiscally responsible. The last citywide risk assessment report that was issued was back in March 10th of 2015, which was conducted by the city's previous internal auditors, consultants, Moss Adams. With the timing of the changes and the needed to update the risk assessment, city staff recommended to hire a consultant to complete an updated citywide risk assessment. In October of 2021, the city staff solicited a request for proposals for performing this internal audit function, which did include 3 council members associated with the evaluation committee, including myself. Based on the results, Schoberg was awarded this proposal, and started the efforts to conduct this risk assessment in early of 2022. What's presented as part of this agenda item is the results of that citywide risk assessment. It does identify a variety of audit topics that could be recommended for future audit plans that would at that point be distinguished by the city auditor position. The report was presented in January 23rd at the audit committee, and a copy of the presentation was provided by the partner George Skiles, which is included as part of the attachment of this agenda item. I also have George Skiles here, who's a partner of the firm and is more than happy to answer any questions related to the report or the presentation slides. Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation. Are there any questions from council members regarding consent item 11? Seeing none, I'll open it up to the public. Are there any members of the public that would like to come forward regarding consent item 11? I see one hand raised, John Williams, for consent item 11.
I'm assuming I'm a little too late. I was looking for public comments. I just got off of work. I was just curious on if that was still an aspect, of course.
Excuse me, I didn't understand the last part of what you said.
I was looking for public comments. Well, I just got off of work. I was curious as to if that was still a thing tonight.
Right now, we're talking about item 11.
I understand
Okay.
that. I'm looking for public comments, of course. No comment on that.
Okay. Well, public comment time has passed.
That's what I was asking for.
Okay.
Thank you for your information.
You're welcome. All right. Any other public comments on consent item 11? Seeing none at this time, are there any other hands raised online regarding consent item 11?
There is one. Jenny.
Okay. We have Jenny.
Thank you very much, Mayor and Council. Thank you for the explanation. I just was a little confused about why we had the auditor, and I know it was written in the report that was posted. But so thank you very much for it, and I understand it better. Thank you.
You're welcome. Are there any further comments from council members regarding item 11? Seeing none, do I have a motion?
Motion to approve item number 11.
All right, I have a motion from Councilmember Wright for item 11. A second by Councilmember Escutia-Brayton. Will the city clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Escutia-Brayton.
Aye.
Councilmember Alvarez.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Ricky.
Aye.
Councilmember Bavaro.
Aye.
Councilmember Williams.
Aye.
Councilmember Wright.
Aye.
And Mayor Zwallen.
Aye. The motion carries unanimously. Next on the agenda is council comments and reports. Do any council members have any comments and reports at this time? Comments and reports. Councilmember Wright.
Thank you, Mayor. A couple Saturdays ago, myself, Councilmember Nick Bavaro, and Councilmember Eric Alvarez went down to Tuolumne Park, Regional Park, and there was a big bike race, and Councilmember Alvarez welcomed all the out-of-towners to Modesto, and I would say there was probably a good 700 or 800 bikers down there that had a great time. We forget sometimes how blessed we are with the Tuolumne River and the things that go on down there that can really be an asset to this city. But anyway, I just want to thank the bikers that were there. There was a bikers there from my old school that from Salinas, and some 50 years ago or so. But anyway, that was a great day down there.
All right, thank you. Vice Mayor Ricky.
Thanks, Mayor. The former Sundial may become a mental health facility, and that's located on McHenry Avenue. And although I think that our city needs more of these facilities, I also think we need to balance the location and try to come up with a more planned out vision for the future of McHenry Avenue. I'm looking forward to getting an update from staff on this and really trying to get a clearer forecast of what we think McHenry Avenue should look like over the next 30 years or so. I'm excited. We're starting to see the Measure H improvements coming into the city. One of those was the Maritone Tot Lot in Woodland West. We're going to be doing some upgrades to that park with Measure H money, and it's just really exciting because the children of Woodland West really deserve a better place to play after the many years of those facilities kind of deteriorating. Last thing I want to talk about is just kind of react to a little bit to some of the comments about our police department. In relationships, there's always a give and take, and I'm very proud of the work that the city council and the police department have done together in reaction to a lot of the comments we're getting from the public. When activists asked for a civilian review board and an independent auditor, city staff put together the Forward Together Commission. They brought it to council. Council passed it, and it's being put in place as we speak. When activists asked for an alternative response model, like Cahoot's program, city council listened to that, police department listened to that. We put the chat program in place. It's working. When neighbors asked us for a ranger program for our parks, council listened, police department listened, we voted it in, we put it in place. This council is trying to help improve the community and improve the relationship with the police department. The police department's trying. Do we have work to do? Yeah. But to say that the intent is off base is disingenuous. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilmember Williams.
Thank you, Mayor. There was an event Friday night at the King Kennedy Center. It was the Black History Month program that went really, really well. And it was done by the King Kennedy Board of Directors, and we were thankful to be a part of that, actually, in being present. And then that Saturday morning, not last Saturday morning, there was a CTC Change the Culture rally that went well. It was positive, it wasn't negative, and we're definitely thankful for that. And Councilmember Wright, Councilmember Alvarez, and Councilmember Bavaro were there. They stayed about an hour or so, and it was a nice time to get together with community and talk about positive things with our police department and things of that nature when it comes to culture. Saturday night, we enjoyed an event at the MJC where Michael Baldwin, who was their guest speaker, as well as their award recipient for the MLK Legacy Award, did a phenomenal job. All of us who were there, which Councilmember Scudia Brayton, along with Vice Mayor Ricky, and then of course our Mayor Susan Wallen was there present, and there were people there from all over the community that enjoyed a exhilarating, uplifting, inspiring message from Michael Baldwin. Lastly, wanted to let everyone know that the Measure H applications are out there. If you want to go to www.modestogov.com, we are seeking input from the community, and we would hope that you would take time out to be a part of this wonderful endeavor in making sure that all of the Measure H money is disseminated where it needs to go. With that being said, thank you so much, Mayor.
All right. You're welcome. Councilmember Bavaro.
Thank you, Mayor. I did not say what I was accused of. What I did say when the speaker referred to the chief of police as a POS, I said, that's enough. That said, Mayor, I'm very proud of our police chief and the members of the Modesto Police Department. They are honorable people who are protecting our communities, our neighborhoods and our communities, and it's a very difficult job to do. I've been on ride-alongs with the gang unit, the traffic patrol, and with park rangers, and I've seen nothing but respect and honor in how they treat our citizens. And I stand with the chief and his department, And no matter how much bullying or verbal abuse that some folks think they can get away with, I will stand still always with our police department. Thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome. Next, Councilmember Alvarez.
Thank you, Mayor. This past Saturday, I, along with Mayor Zwollen and Councilmember Bavaro, attended the Modesto Cruisers Council Classic Cars and Classic Coffee and Cops event designed to build bridges to break down barriers between cultures. The cultures being the cruising community and law enforcement and the citizens that they serve. It was a great event. I'm looking forward to more of those, especially as this weather warms up. Also, switching gears a little bit here, directly to my constituents and the folks here in the audience, the City of Modesto is still looking to accept applicants for the Measure H Oversight Board. Board members will play a critical role in ensuring voter-approved funds are being spent appropriately. And I will continue to encourage folks from District 2 to apply so that way we can continue to advocate for equitable distribution of resources across the City of Modesto. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other? All right. Without being redundant of all the activities that many of us have participated in, one of the most delightful experiences about being mayor is being invited to people's birthday parties that turn 100 years old. And I did that on a Saturday evening. Wesley Hall is a World War II veteran and served in Stanislaus County for 75 years. And what was most delightful was he expressed to me how much he appreciated our service and how Modesto is improving. And he said he watches what we do as a council, and he appreciates us and our efforts. So I was uplifted by being able to spend some time with him. This morning, along with many of our council members, attended the memorial recognition of Larry Crom. He is a member of our police department that in 1971 was on duty patrolling parking downtown and was hit by a drunk driver and suffered a traumatic brain injury and died many, many years later, but from the effects of that injury. So it's delightful for me. I think I have attended every year. This was the third time, and it's very emotional for me. It's touching for me today his son was there. His son told me that he was 6 years old when this happened to his dad. And I'm just grateful that we recognize and honor our officers that have given the ultimate sacrifice, literally. So I'm grateful for them. All right. Next, we will go on to city manager comments and reports. Does the city manager have any reports at this time? All right, you're welcome. Next is new business. Item 19, consider accepting Mayor Sue Zwollen's budget message per Charter Section 132.1 for the upcoming fiscal year. So I will take this item and read the message. As mayor, I have the duty and privilege to deliver to the residents and City Council of Modesto the mayor's budget message under Modesto City Charter Section 1302.1. Through the continuing efforts of collaboration of this City Council, I want to ensure that this budget message reflects not only my priorities, but considers those of the entire City Council for the upcoming fiscal year. While the COVID-19 pandemic remains and continues to impact our daily lives, the city strives to take the necessary steps to maintain services to the public without interruption. Safety continues to be a high priority. Strengthened bonds throughout the community have played a key role in the success not only of this organization, but our community as a whole. The City Council has moved forward in restoring the public's confidence in this organization's governance and direction with the passage of Measure H by the residents of Modesto. With the voters' approval of Measure H, this organization has been given the responsibility of using additional sales tax revenue in the fiscal year 2023-24 operating and capital budgets and beyond. We must prioritize spending for critical needs in multiple areas across the city. These priorities were established by the ballot language in Measure H and by the residents. It will be the obligation of the council and myself to work together to prioritize spending for the following needs. Funding to address police patrols, gang, drug, and crime prevention. Funding for fire protection, paramedic, and 911 emergency response. Funding for homelessness. Funding for cleaning up trash and illegal dumping. Funding for keeping streets, parks, sidewalks, landscapes, and infrastructure safe, clean, and well-maintained. The priorities set forth above outline broad ideas and areas and leave much of the planning and decisions for the council to make in order to address the issues and make the most impact with the funds generated by Measure H. To do this, there will be a council workshop that will allow us the opportunity to work together to create the priorities for a Measure H spending plan, using the language from the ballot measure as a guideline to inform our decisions as a council. I know that the spending plan we develop will bring forth meaningful changes that will impact the lives of the residents in fiscal year 2023-24 and beyond. I look forward to working with the members of our council to develop an innovative budget plan that continues to implement the various components of our strategic plan while prioritizing spending to address public safety, blight, homelessness, and aging infrastructure. I am eager to work with city staff to develop innovative programs that can benefit Modesto and its residents for future years to come. With the additional funding being provided through Measure H, we as a council have the additional responsibility to ensure that our future budgets are funding programs that are effective and provide desired results. For those that do not, we should reassess and redirect to programs that can. I have every confidence that we as a unified council can continue to ensure quality services are provided for the deserving residents of Modesto. With respect, Suze Wallen, Mayor, City of Modesto. At this time, does council have any questions of staff or me? All right, Jeremiah Williams.
Thank you, Mayor. Just want to thank you for a wonderful job well done at the State of the City, and I appreciate your level of passion and concern and love for this community.
All right, thank you. Are there any other questions? Nick Navarro.
Thank you, Mayor. We are a functional, strong council with a lot of challenges ahead of us. Oh, I'm all right. Sorry, can you hear me now? Okay. Thank you, Mayor. As I was saying, we are a strong, functional city council who are working together to make Modesto a better place to live, work, and raise our families. You've done an outstanding job in summarizing in one page our challenges, and we're all on the same page on where we want to go, but I'm sure we're going to have lively debates on how we get there, but that's democracy. And thank you again for preparing this, and like other council members, we look forward to working with you on our priorities. Thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome. Vice Mayor Ricky.
Thanks, Mayor. I'm muted now. I want to echo Councilmember Bavaro's sentiments here. I really appreciate your vision for where the budget's going this year. I support the bullet points that you've presented here, and I look forward to helping you put together the budget that supports those things.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Escutia-Breen.
Thank you, Mayor. Indeed, thank you for presenting us with a very detailed, comprehensive budget. I also look forward to collaborating with you and my peers on this council to implement, as Councilmember Bavaro said, challenges. I see them more as opportunities. But one of the things that I appreciate most about your budget message is how it very accurately takes into account what we've heard loud and clear from our community. They've said it to us individually. They said it to us in supporting Measure H. We've heard, we've taken it to heart, and through these words and in our actions, we're going to do our best to implement these these ideas, these opportunities for the benefit of Modesto. So looking forward to making that happen. Thank you again.
You're welcome. Now it's time for public comment. Open to the public. Are there any members of the public that would like to speak regarding item 19? I do not see anyone in person. Is there any? There is no one online. We do not see any hands raised. All right. So I do want to acknowledge Stephen Christensen for his assistance in clarifying this message and this budget message for all of us. I appreciate his assistance. Are there any further comments from council members?
Motion to approve.
All right, I have a motion from Councilmember Wright.
Second.
Second from Councilmember Williams. Will the clerk please call the roll for this item?
Councilmember Scudero Brayton.
Aye.
Councilmember Alvarez.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Ricky.
Aye.
Councilmember Bavaro. Aye. Councilmember Williams.
Aye.
Councilmember Wright.
Aye.
And Mayor Zwallen.
Aye, carries unanimously. Thank you very much. Next, on to item 20. Consider approving the purchase of a Gips Aero GA8 airplane from CNC Technologies, Oak Park, California, for a total amount not to exceed $741,578. So we will have our staff report. Welcome.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Ivan Valencia, and I serve as the Assistant Police Chief for the Modesto Police Department, and I'm here to present a proposal for the purchase of an aircraft equipped with public safety equipment that would be used by the Modesto Police Department to serve in its mission to reduce crime.
Mayor, may I please ask that you put that up, or we can also hear you back here? Thank you.
Thank you. So the primary question is why? Why do public safety agencies use air support in their mission, and why does the Modesto Police Department want to have a plane to use for its public safety mission? And there's some key notes that I have here. Number one would be the faster response time. There's a key time element that we have that if we can get to an incident, an in-progress call, or recently after an incident occurred, within a 3-minute period of time, there's a greater success rate of us being able to capture that individual, return property back to the victims, and higher likelihood of prosecution with an airplane, since we would be able to record our observations and present those in court. Agencies that have air support units report back to their governing bodies, and many report 3 times higher rate of arrest with the assistance of an air support unit. And also they report a reduction in Part 1 crimes when there's air support overhead. And Part 1 crimes typically are our major crimes, such as felonies that include robberies, assault with deadly weapons. Those are our Part 1 crimes. And so it's easy to understand, just like a patrol car being in a block would act as a deterrent just by being there, the aircraft can also act in that same manner. If they know that there's an aircraft overhead, criminals tend to stay away from that. They don't want to be captured. Traffic enforcement, air support units began their use through public safety with traffic enforcement in mind. And so they're incredible assets. They can detect vehicle violations from up ahead without being obstructed, and they can follow those violators until a ground unit is able to be there to make and initiate a stop. With the uptick in sideshow activity, air support units have been a very good asset in being able to help ground units and communities combat that type of activity, because once again, the activity can be recorded from up in the air. Many times license plates are recorded, and after the fact, agencies are able to get search warrants, later hold those people accountable by towing those vehicles, impounding those vehicles for about 30 days. And so there's some accountability that can occur with an air support unit. Pursuit management, that's high on our list. Those are instances where there's high liability, high danger to both the officers, our public, our commuters, suspects. And so these tools can be used to mitigate that liability by allowing officers, ground units to pull back and just let the airplane do the job. And then we can now find a situation of our choosing where we can try to effect an arrest, such as when the fleeing subject pulls over, goes to a residence. That allows us that ability to pick the place and time to take action instead of high-speed pursuit throughout city streets. They're able to clear calls from the sky. Well, I skipped resource management. And what that means is when there's an air asset up ahead, and for example, we get the report of a traffic accident in McHenry and Briggsmore, well, now we have eyes on that incident, and we can determine, or the aircrew can determine, hey, this is something that can be handled with just 2 officers on the ground, or maybe 1. They've already pulled over, and they're in a parking lot. And so that allows us to manage our resources a little bit more. Those units that would be dispatched that manage that incident can now go and handle other higher priority calls for that we receive. And then they are also able to clear calls for service. If we get a report of say, an individual that's acting strangely at an intersection, an air support unit can have eyes on and say, you know what, he looks like he's just dancing and probably waiting for the bus instead. And then we can clear that call, not have to send patrol units and use our resources elsewhere. One flight crew, agencies report that one flight crew, and the numbers vary a little bit from 6 to 10, but generally they say that one flight crew is equivalent to 6 units on the ground. And how that makes sense is when units on the ground, obviously they have to deal with traffic to get to different places. An air support unit can certainly get there faster, report back, and like I said, manage resources. Now that number increases when we're looking for a fleeing suspect or somebody that's missing. Then that flight crew becomes the equivalent of 21 officers on the ground. And it's an easy concept to understand from above. You don't have the obstructions that you do on the ground. The camera sensors on this airplane, specifically the one we're buying, has both daytime and thermal capabilities. And so now if we have to clear a large area, we can start looking for heat sources and heat sources that look like human bodies. And so although you can put a number to that ratio of 6 to 1, which an average cost of an officer is about $440,000 with benefited cost. And so if it's the equivalent of 6, you're looking at $840,000, the equivalent value. But you can't put a value in being able to find a missing person quickly, especially if they need some type of help, mental health or just regular aid. That you can't put a price on. And then the ability like I mentioned, those cameras, the ability to provide real-time information. And for me, I describe it as that information you get that prepares you for that human-to-human contact. The key is to avoid surprises, and these aircrafts with these cameras can help you know what's around the corner, how the subject is behaving, whether they believe he's armed, whether there's dogs around, and how do the ground units mitigate that issue. If there's children around, we also have to take that into consideration as to how we handle that specific incident. Traditional aircraft used by public safety has been helicopters, and the reason for that is before we had access or technology developed for these sophisticated cameras that can see, both in daytime and at night. All they had was either binoculars or the use of the unaided eye, and so the ability to fly low and very slow was important, and so that's why helicopters routinely have been used by public safety. There's also the advantage that it can take off and land vertically up and down, and so that's important for mostly sheriff's departments who have other duties that the municipalities do with search and rescue operations, where they need to get to remote areas, be able to extract people from areas where there's no highways or easy ways to get to people. That's a very important fact for them. So that's why traditionally helicopters have been the primary use for law enforcement. But there are some cons to that. Helicopters are expensive. They're expensive to purchase and they're expensive to operate. Just here in our area, Sacramento PD a couple of years ago purchased a helicopter for $2.7 million. Stockton, our neighbors to the north, they budgeted $3 million for their aircraft. And then here locally, the Stanislaus County Sheriff's Department budgeted about $4.1 million for their helicopter that they now operate. And as I mentioned, they're very expensive to maintain, and that's because they're very complex machines. They have the engine, they have a transmission. That transmission now has to send power to the tail rotors and to the main rotors, and so they require frequent maintenance, where an airplane does not. And then they also have a high fuel consumption. Most helicopters, the average fuel consumption is over 30 gallons per hour for flight hour. And then, as we all know, there's a high noise level associated with helicopters, and it's not so evident during the day with the ambient noise of traffic and business, but at night you definitely know they're there, and they do fly a little lower than what airplanes fly. And the Modesto Police Department has been researching the use of some type of air asset for the police department. And in earnest, that research began in 2015, where the department was looking at a light sport aircraft, a CTLE light sport aircraft at that time. There were some limitations to that aircraft. It's very small. It could only fit a pilot and an observer, and it couldn't carry much weight, so you're very limited as to what type of sensor you could put on there, the sensor meaning the camera equipment. And so with that camera equipment, the airplane would have to fly lower because it doesn't have the magnification of the bigger cameras that require a larger airplane for lift. But at that time we were looking at it, and the price for that aircraft was $610,000, was $769. And like I said, that was a light sport aircraft. And we were moving forward, and I have documentation where we had purchased, our bid waivers and all that in place. But unfortunately, one of the aircraft that we were looking at, or a very similar aircraft to what we were looking at purchasing, crashed in Tulare County. And so that put a pause on our efforts, wanting to know the details and not wanting to buy an aircraft that was unsafe. It was later determined that the cause of that crash was pilot error, so not the aircraft's fault, but we didn't move forward with that endeavor. In 2021, we had the opportunity to lease an autogyro, a 2017 autogyro Cavalon, and we had a 5.5-month pilot program using that aircraft, and we learned a lot from that 5.5 months. Number one, it allowed us to gather statistics and also provided us insight on how we would use that platform in our crime reduction efforts. And what I mean with that is every 2 weeks, we have what we call an ILP, intelligence-led policing meeting, and we take all the crime patterns and problems that we experience throughout the city, and we sit in a large room, and almost every unit in our department is represented, and we come up with an ideas as to how we're going to tackle this situation. And so, and if you ever sat on them, you see that we try to think out of the box of tradition. We look for patterns. We look for what type of equipment and technology we can use to help reduce crime in those certain areas. And it could be as simple as putting a billboard on McHenry that says, please remove your valuables, or using our Armadillo, which is an armored vehicle that says, hey, smile, you're on camera, and using that as an overt deterrent. And when it came to crime reduction, I would read these reports, hear the feedback, and we would use our autogyro and say, if you're experiencing vehicle break-ins within the CIS corridor, then the gyro would be patrolling the CIS corridor. Oftentimes, we would get reports of disturbances at high schools, especially in Byer Park at times. You know what? The gyro is going to be flying over Byer Park and be a deterrent that way. So it allowed us to see how we could use an air asset for our advantage. And then as far as statistics, it also showed us that there is still additional need for air support within our community. Oftentimes, our autogyro would be used by allied agencies to help in support of their efforts as well. We also, once the gyro program went away, we also recognized that people were still requesting it, but it was no longer available because the 5.5 months had expired. But there's definitely additional needs in this community for a platform that can help assist us. And these are the statistics that we gathered during that pilot program time. It flew 152 flights. Within those 152 flights, it had what we refer to as 258 missions. All it is, it responded to 258 incidences, so calls for service or on-view different activity that was deemed to be illegal by the flight crew. On its own, it handled 73 of those calls. It was first on scene on 92. And like I said, mutual aid on 39 of those. It assisted with calls that ended up with an arrest 69 times. It self-initiated 41 calls, assisted with 11 pursuits, 11 search warrant services, and 24 traffic enforcement incidences. The aircraft that we're looking at the moment, and like I said, our main focus was to find something that's cost effective. And I mentioned the many benefits of a helicopter, but for the city of Modesto, it doesn't make sense. We don't have a search and rescue capacity that we're responsible for. We don't have areas that are so remote that we can't get there with a car. We have 3 local hospitals that if we need to get people right away, we can certainly do that. And 2 of those hospitals are serviced by area ambulances anyway. So that ability to fly, be able to take off vertically and land vertically, it's just a luxury that we don't need for a city of Modesto. And we have the airport that's very easily accessible, and it's got to be less than 4 miles from the police department. So we looked at a 2012 JIPS Aero G88. It's an FAA type certified aircraft with a maximum weight of 4,200 pounds. It uses about 18 gallons of fuel per hour. That's compared to 30 plus for a helicopter. Has 6 hours of flight time before needing to refuel. Obviously, a flight crew probably needs restroom breaks and whatnot before that, but if we needed it to be up there for 6 hours, it definitely could do that. And its speed ranges from 52 knots to 130 knots, the most important being that higher number, the 130 knots, which is equivalent to 150 miles per hour. This specific aircraft is used by the California Highway Patrol, the Ohio Highway Patrol, San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department, Orange County Sheriff's Department, Pennsylvania State Attorney General's Office, which is the one we are interested in purchasing, and the U.S. Civil Air Patrol also has a fleet of these. Cost breakdown for the specific airplane that we want to purchase from CNC Technologies. The airplane is priced at $550,000. A new aircraft like this would be over $900,000. And not just that, but if you were to buy new, aircraft are not like cars. You just can't go to the dealership. You have to place an order, and so you're probably looking at about a year wait time to acquire an aircraft. The camera cost for this airplane is $135,000. New this camera without installation or any of the associated technology and computers and installation that are required is $420,000, and this is a high-definition camera. It's made by FLIR. It's the model number is a FLIR Star Sapphire 380 HD, and the computer system, because this aircraft is already built, there's no included cost for installation or the other associated equipment needed. But if we were to buy this new, it'd be an additional $400,000 for installation and the other computer systems and components required. Estimated cost of the aircraft with the camera is $685,000. Compared to new would be little over $1.7 million. There will be an associated escrow fee of $1,800, a sales tax of $53,978, and an inspection fee of $800 for a total of $740,578. I wanted to break down the operational cost per hour, and my estimates are high. I estimated fuel cost at $8 a gallon. I'm told that recent prices are about, wholesale would be about $6.50, somewhere in that area. Operated that by 18, or fuel at 6, and then using 18 gallons per hour, so you get a fuel cost about $145. And like I said, it'll be high. There is an engine replacement cost to this aircraft. Recommendations are that they be changed every 2,000 hours, and so if you break down that the cost of the engine replacement, you come up to about $35 an hour if you break it down. Maintenance cost, initially, we would contract all the maintenance out. Air crews are allowed to do simple maintenance like oil changes, but to begin this program and get it off the ground, we would do all the maintenance, have all the maintenance done by somebody else, and so that would come up about $109 an hour. Insurance costs, the breakdown would be about $15 an hour. And then traditionally people don't include this, but I don't like surprises, so I wanted to add this as well. The hangar price, if we break it down, it'd come down to $30 an hour. So for a total operating cost of $334 per hour. So how does this aircraft compare to a helicopter? And like I said, this is not really apple to apples. I added the hangar cost as well, but this aircraft would average about $334 an hour to flight, where a helicopter is running, and this is a conservative price for a helicopter, but about $650 per hour, per flight hour. So that breaks down to, for the fixed wing, the airplane that we're trying to buy, about $6,680 per week, a monthly cost of $26,720 with an annual cost of $320,640. And this is averaging about 960 hours of flight time. Our goal would be about 1,000 hours a year of flight hours. I understand that we're going to get this program off the ground, and so we may not hit that mark right away, but that would be the operational goal, about 1,000 flight hours per year. And if just a quick comparison, a very conservative price cost for the helicopter would be about $624,000 a year. A little about the aircraft's capability. Like I mentioned, it has an HD camera with long-range scope with a thermal sensor. The thermal sensor is what allows you to pick up heat at night or during the daytime. It's a lot more useful at night, but it works in the daytime as well. It has moving map software and a computer or digital video recording for evidence retention. It does have equipment for video downlink, which means we can stream that same video that the operators are seeing in the aircraft. We can stream it to units on the ground or our real-time crime center or basically any place where you have a desktop or tablet or telephone or a smartphone, we can stream that video. I talked about the long flight endurance. It could fly for about 6 hours, and then it can carry a pilot along with 7 other passengers. And where that comes handy is as we experienced the local flooding recently. If we wanted to send our fire personnel to assess different areas of the city or even fly closer to the dams, they can certainly do that with this airplane. A little bit more information on the camera. I already gave the model number to it, but it's a 15-inch gimbal, and all that means is the size of the gimbal, which in this particular aircraft would allow us to fly higher because it just the size of the camera just allows for more magnification. Also, I do know that this camera was factory upgraded in 2019, where it was completely gone through by the manufacturer and then recertified and upgraded with HD capabilities. There's also a Churchill AI overlay mapping software, and that alone is about $100,000. And that what it does is it's almost like what you're looking on your GPS. It overlays over the live view the different roadways and parcel numbers of the city. So if we need to call off a pursuit, we know what streets are up ahead. We can give that information to the ground units. If we're following a suspect who's fleeing and jumping fences, we can certainly know what address they're in because it overlays that information. I mentioned the digital video recording for evidence, and which assists with prosecution and the video downlink as well. The purpose and mission for us, we would like it to be a proactive tool, and what I would describe it as like a patrol car in the sky. And so patrol business districts, parks, and neighborhoods, but it's not directly responding for calls for service. As mentioned, it can observe critical infrastructure, waterways, large fires. We can certainly use this asset for that. I mentioned the benefits of using it for traffic enforcement, emergency response to critical incidences, vehicle pursuits, the search and perimeters. It does have the equivalent to being, 21 officers on the ground, and not just that, but the efficiency of being able to search areas a lot quicker and finding people faster. We can certainly mitigate those incidences a lot faster and let our other units go on and handle additional calls for service that are higher in priority. And they can also be a very useful tool in special investigations when we're looking at sophisticated criminals such as gangs or drug dealers who understand counter surveillance. This aircraft, if you fly it high enough, it wouldn't be detected by these individuals, and so we can use it for that. And then for crime suppression of violent crime and theft investigations as well. Funding sources for this aircraft, we'd be splitting the funding sources in half, basically, using supplemental law enforcement funds. These funds are given to the police department for frontline support of our operations. And us as a police department, we usually use it to purchase equipment, supplies, technology. We don't use it for salary positions or for police officer positions because the amount of the grant varies, and it's also not awarded at the same time every year. And so to depend on this and hire officers and maybe have to lay them off because the amount was not sufficient, or it doesn't allow for planning of our yearly budget because we don't necessarily know when this funding will come or how much it is. It's typically a surprise to us, and so it's not a good business practice for us to hire people. The Traffic Safety Fund specifically states that it cannot be used for police officer salaries, and so once again we use that for equipment, technology, public safety equipment to outfit our traffic unit, and items such as that. And so this opportunity, the Gyps Aero aircraft, like I said, it's an aircraft that's already equipped with public safety equipment. It's still currently in possession of the Pennsylvania State Attorney General's office, and so it's something we can buy with one-time funding, and that can't be used to hire personnel. And it's a turnkey platform It will require, well, the only thing that would require from us is to reprogram the radios to our channels, but other than that, it's ready to service the city of Modesto. It's used by, as I stated earlier, it's used by many different public safety agencies, and so it's been proven to be a safe and reliable aircraft for public safety use. It has the latest modern technology. It has lower operating costs than helicopters, and once again, a proven track record with law enforcement. Oftentimes, you'd get the questions, well, why Modesto? Are we big enough? The Redlands Police Department, and I was just told by Kevin Valine that they no longer have it, but they did have a fixed-wing aircraft to support their public safety efforts, and they're a population of just under 72,000. But they were able to put an air asset using an airplane as we want to use it here in Modesto. And so with that, I open it up to any questions.
All right, thank you very much for that report. Now we'll have questions from council members. Councilmember Wright.
Thank you, Assistant Chief, for that presentation. You know how many hours are on the plane?
There's two different hours. There's about 2,400 hours on the airframe. On the engine, there's a little bit under 1,100 hours.
1,100 hours. And when was the last annual done on it? Do you know?
I do not know. It was just had its 100-hour service about 2 weeks ago,
okay.
And it was inspected last week.
You said it had a 100-hour service about 2 weeks ago, you said?
Correct.
Okay, great. That's your annual right there. So that's every 100 hours or once a year you have to have an annual. So that's.
And I was told that during that inspection there was no evidence of corrosion.
Okay.
All the cylinders but one were at 80. The one that wasn't was at 79, which I'm told that's basically the new aircraft. And the oil was also analyzed and nothing of concern was noted.
Great. Thank you.
All right, Councilmember Bavaro.
Thank you, Mayor. Stanislaus County Sheriff's Office has their air patrol. Was there any discussion with the Sheriff's Department on maybe combining this service?
And I can take that, Brandon Gillespie, Police Chief. So the sheriff and I and our two departments coordinate quite often with all different sorts of things. And so we have partnered and coordinated with them in the past. We've actually had tactical flight officers as part of the Sheriff's Office Air Support Program for quite a while. We don't currently have any, but we did. So we have a long history. So we've looked at that, and really what my assessment is that there's really not enough air support up in the sky as it is right now. So I see this as a supplemental to what the Sheriff's program is doing, and we will, if we're allowed to purchase this plane, try to coordinate as best we can with the Sheriff's Office to make sure we have maximum coverage, because just as we have different SWAT teams, we still have armored vehicles to carry out our own specific missions. And so we did, the sheriff and I had talked about that early on when we were looking at this, but I think for us in the city of Modesto and be able to complete the missions that we do, but still be in coordination with the Sheriff's Office is what the determination I thought was best for our department.
A couple more questions. On that $800 inspection fee, does that include a formal inspection and review of the maintenance and other records of the aircraft?
Yes, it included a review of the logs, and as I learn more about the aviation world, you really should be suspicious of any aircraft that does not have full logs or logs at all. This has documentation since it was purchased by the Pennsylvania State Attorney General's office. It's been mostly serviced by, I think it's Summit Aviation, who are kind of an international business, and so yeah, they were able to digitally send those to us way in advance, and then part of the inspection was the review of those.
And that includes the camera too, correct?
Like I said, the camera is a separate item, but it was upgraded in 2019. We did, Sergeant Mike Hicks, who's taken the lead on a lot of these items, did call FLIR, and these things are specifically made for each agency, so they're custom, and so they're very familiar with each unit. They recall it's time when they're at the factory where it was upgraded. They didn't note any issues with that camera whatsoever.
And one final question, because you answered 90% of my questions that I had here in your presentation. But if there is an aircraft that is heading south and there's some action heading north, how does the camera work? Or does the plane have to turn around, or how does that work? Like with a helicopter, they can turn on a dime, but how do you deal with that when there's an action going this direction and the plane going that direction?
Yeah, and this is the reason why airplanes are becoming more of a tool that we can use. Is now the camera does the work of that orbiting and being able to stay on target. And so it's a gyroscopic camera. It has the ability to track. It's kind of like playing a video game. You put a little square over the object that you want to track. You kind of lock it in, and it just stays there. And if you're just watching the video, you would think the airplane's just standing still in the sky. But it's traveling. It's traveling at least 70 miles an hour, and it's moving. But it's the sophisticated camera that does the work. And so that's what is allowing airplanes to now do a lot of the functions that were strictly only been able to do with helicopters. It's the camera technology.
And I think further, just to add to that, so the plane's going this way, the camera can rotate 360. It can lock on that thing behind you that's to the south and stay on that incident while it turns and goes back towards it.
You've answered all my questions. Thank you, Mayor.
All right, questions. Councilmember Escudia Brayton.
Thank you, Mayor. Very, very impressive. Thank you, Deputy Chief Valencia, for that very detailed, comprehensive report. The proven track record of this Gibbs aircraft is just, it's impressive. The crime reduction benefits that you articulated, again, impressive. And I appreciate how the research was done very thoughtfully, and in particular, the one-time use of funding expenditure. I think it just makes it a win-win. You had spoken about, in your statistics page, that self-initiating calls. You indicated that it has done 41 self-initiated calls.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate more on that? How does it do that?
So that occurred during our pilot program with our gyro plane for that 5.5 months.
It was with the gyro?
Yeah, and so all that is the air crew is now observing either suspicious activity or vehicle traffic violations, and so now they're reporting that information. So the air crew is creating that incident. So that's what that refers to.
So the air crew is doing it?
Correct.
Okay, it's not a software that automatically reports and calls in. I just was wondering how that might work. So it's generated by the pilot or staff crew in the aircraft?
It's generally the observer that's looking down on the ground and sees a violation, whether it's criminal or traffic related, and then now they're creating that incident and reporting it back to the ground units.
And that would be the same in this aircraft?
Correct.
So similar, okay. And the fact that it would, one flight crew would be equivalent to anywhere between 6 to 21 on the ground staff personnel is just exceptional. So cost saving there is just immense. If we were to approve it tonight, when can we receive it and put it into work?
So lots dependent on the weather. We can certainly have it here by the end of March, if weather permitting, and then probably about two weeks for it to go operational. So we're looking at mid-April.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, Councilmember Williams.
Wow, that was incredible presentation. And I think, 6 years ago, you knew nothing about airplanes and helicopters, correct?
Right.
And now you know quite a bit, and you've been able to articulate that very, very well. Some of the questions that I did have were answered, and of course, I reflect my fellow council members who have already stated your excellence in putting this together. It's needed for our community. The one statement that I've made to others, no venture, no gain. We have an opportunity to gain some support that comes from the sky, the eye in the sky. But again, thank you so much for everything you've done in the last, 5-6 years in investigating what would be proper for our community. And then, of course, as of late, for the airplane. So thank you.
Thank you, sir.
All right, Councilmember Alvarez.
I want to echo the sentiments of my colleagues. Deputy Chief Valencia, great presentation. I have a question regarding the camera.
Mm-hmm.
Is the whole point of having air support is to have a sophisticated camera, right? Is this camera refurbished or upgraded?
It was upgraded.
Okay. And what concerns me about the cost of this camera is it's so low compared to the airplane. So the point is to have a really, really sophisticated technology in the sky. Why is that so low?
So, and just to go back to the camera's capabilities, I recently had video from this actual camera and photographs taken, and it's excellent quality. In fact, our screen that we were looking at, the computer didn't do it justice. It's not high definition. But the thing with the equipment, most of the equipment in this aircraft, is that they would have to pay to deconstruct this aircraft to be able to sell it in the private market. You can't sell the camera and some of the equipment to private individuals. There are some exceptions to, like PG&E is able to purchase this to do line inspections with the thermal imaging, but the normal public can't. And so they would have to pay somebody to take this aircraft apart and then put it out of the market. And so that's where we're realizing the savings. There's also the people that help purchase this aircraft and put this aircraft together. In their heart, they don't want to see that. They put a lot of investment into this aircraft, and so they wanted to go to a private or to a public safety agency and continue its use.
Understood. Thank you.
All right, I have 3 quick questions. So, did you check with the other departments and municipalities that use this plane and get any reports on how they evaluated it?
We did, and the only complaint we heard, and this came from state agencies, and this is the reason why the Pennsylvania State Attorney General's office upgraded to a larger aircraft, is that it's slow for them to traverse the state. So that was the complaint from Pennsylvania State Attorney General's office, although they love the aircraft. Highway Patrol as well, they want a faster aircraft. As I mentioned, the top speed is about 150 miles per hour. That's plenty fast for Modesto. We don't need to traverse large areas, and so everybody states for what you want to use this aircraft for, it's perfect. And they also, some of the feedback we get is they would purchase it on just the camera alone, the value of the camera.
Since you mentioned speed, how does it work for tracking people that are speeding in Modesto? That's a huge problem, and I want everybody to get the message that we want to slow down. Does it?
It does not have radar.
Track?
No, so what you do is you mark a certain distance, and then it's simply you just time it, and so that gives you a speed, and then you're able to enforce that. And the cool thing is that you're recording your observations, so now you have video evidence of what's occurring, and it's admissible in court.
And then is there, okay, so how do we then connect that information with the person that's in the car to identify them? Can that be like later?
So no, the speeding would be in relatively timing with when the incident occurred. But yeah, you would relay the information to patrol officers on the ground, and you can stay on it visually until you get a traffic unit or patrol unit behind it to initiate the traffic stop.
So if we followed and they were going very, 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 very fast, and someone on the ground, then they come to a stop sign and they actually stop, then an officer could
We can initiate stop there. Now, if
pull
it's
them over and you have the evidence and.
correct. Now, if it's so egregious where like you have these sideshows, and so we can actually do search warrants on those type of violations and then go back to the registered residents and collect the vehicle, impound it for 30 days.
Okay.
And I think I would just add, I'll give you a real time. Just last Friday night, the sheriff's office helicopter was up in the air. I was working about 7 o'clock, and it proactively got on the air and was following 2 motorcycles down McHenry Avenue who were doing wheelies the entire way. And so they actually called out. We had, actually believe it was Sergeant Hicks that was working, and they were able to vector Sergeant Hicks in to make a traffic stop. Actually did it at Dutch Bros on McHenry, and then they were able to deal with the violator there. So that was a perfect example, even just a few days ago, of how an air asset was used for traffic issues.
And you may have saved his life.
Right.
How high can it fly with that accurate of camera use? The picture that is displayed in here is just unreal. Where the one by the waterway, is that picture with that little tiny dot that's the cars from the plane? And then the camera actually picks it up like as in the 2.
So this is just a reference photo that we had from our presentation when we were looking at the light sport. The camera that we have is 100 times better than this. the quality and the ability. The Pennsylvania State Attorney General's office, they operate their aircraft routinely. They report to us at 6,000 feet and still have a good view of the ground and what's occurring.
All right. Thank you very much. Any other questions at this time? Council member or Vice Mayor Ricky?
Thanks, Mayor. My only question is, do you feel like the aircraft will act as a deterrent on sideshows in the future?
Yes, if word gets around that we have this asset and that we use it, and we have some examples where we've written search warrants and taken cars from individuals and holding them accountable, that word gets out, and they pick unfortunately, they pick other jurisdictions to go do this activity.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions from council members at this time?
One last
Councilmember
question,
Wright.
and it has to do with maintenance. Do we have a facility here in Modesto for take care of all the maintenance, or does it have to go somewhere else?
No, we're very fortunate. So the CHP owns several of these airplanes, and they service them in Sacramento. They have a satellite service facility here at Modesto Airport, and so we went to visit. We showed the service manager the aircraft, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I know that aircraft."
So they can do the annual here?
Correct.
And then also replacement after 2,000 hours, they can do that here too?
Correct.
Okay, great.
All right, we will open up for public comments regarding this item, item 20. Are there any members of the public that would like to speak regarding item 20? And, okay, please step forward.
Start the clock up.
Okay.
My name's Steve Ringhoff, and I came here to argue for a helicopter. The reason being, I think it's more effective. You had a question about the statistics. There are two sets of statistics that are in the proposal. One set is cited to the LAPD. They have 7 helicopters, 1 fixed-wing plane. The others, the 6.5 cars, the 21 officers, they don't tell us what that's from. I suspect that's from agencies with helicopters. And my basic question is, if I read the proposal, I get a sense that they were concerned about cost as a primary item, which is not a bad thing necessarily, but it shouldn't be overriding. And what would they have asked for if they came here and said, we'd like a helicopter the equivalent of Stockton PD or the Sheriff's Office? I think the Sheriff's Office has 2 now. They got the 1 fixed that had crashed. So, what are these equivalencies that we could have? I tried to find out what a usable helicopter would cost. And I go online, and every one of the ads says, make offer, look, or call us. It's one of those things where you're not going to get a number. You're going to have to negotiate. I don't know what negotiations went on for the plane, for example. This was a trade-in for the Pennsylvania folks who wanted to upgrade. I don't know what was given by way of trade-in value, so I don't know whether we're paying more or less. The point being, in all these things, you can negotiate. There are several types of helicopters, and I think a thorough search could probably produce a usable helicopter at or under $1 million. So that's the kind of difference that you're looking at. And then the question is the use. A helicopter is noisy, flown low. I live in the pattern for Modesto Airport, and I have all the different helicopters coming over. And I can tell whether they're flying low or high. It just, the noise level goes up. The plane is going to be almost silent because it's going to have to fly at a higher level. And one of its problems is that 20 seconds left, that it goes too slow. Okay, you can't fly a plane too low and too slow. You'll fall out of the sky. But a helicopter can hover. So when you have a thing like a sideshow, you can just come right down onto it and shut it down. A plane may circle. That circle is going to be a fairly good size. Okay, so my suggestion was going to be tonight that you table this matter, whatever you call it, a continuance, and put it over and ask the police department to go back and say, make a thorough search for a helicopter and see if we can afford that. And if we can, maybe that's what we ought to consider rather than this plane. Now, you had a question, Councilman Wright, about service, and I don't know the answer to this except that Gibbs Aero no longer makes this model. Okay, the Indian conglomerate that bought it has now outsourced parts and service out of Atlanta. And I bought a new English sports car many, many years ago, and it came over, but starters and other parts didn't. So when I had to look for those parts, I was down a long time.
Your time is up. Can you finish your
Can I quit? Well, I'm sorry. I really
That's
didn't
all right.
realize that the 3 minutes applied to this, just the ranting that you had early on. All right. I think those are the points. Oh, one other point. The jurisdictions which are cited here are geographically much larger. Riverside is like 7,000 square miles. San Bernardino is like 20,000 square miles. State of Pennsylvania is huge. Modesto is like 45 square miles. So you've got something that's good for use in those areas that may not be good circling a relatively longer. Again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, online I see Teresa Gamboa.
Thank you, Mayor Wallen. Good evening, council, staff, and members of the public. Chief Gillespie, Assistant Chief Valencia, thank you for that great presentation. I'm excited about this. I think it will make the community safer, especially during high-speed chases. It'll help locate stunt drivers and sideshows and maybe help prevent them. That's a problem in our neighborhood. And they're dangerous, and it will help assist officers in the field and help keep them safer. I'm really glad, Chief Gillespie, that you didn't give up on the aerial program. Several neighborhood watch coordinators have reached out to me in the last week or so about this program. All of them are in support of it, and one of them called me this afternoon. She says she wished we could have 2 planes and roving armadillos in the city. She wants more officers in our city. That's something we all want and something the chief is working on. But this will help with staffing, and it will help our officers. Our city needs this. I think we're ready for it. The funding is there. It's well thought out. I'm in support, and I want to encourage the council to approve it. I do have one question. I want to know if it has a loudspeaker. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, to answer that question, it is not equipped with a loudspeaker.
Thank you. Next, Steve.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, I am not as wooed and hypnotized as many of you guys are. Although the soldier did a pretty good job of his presentation tonight. I'd like to provide some perspective and just encourage us all to not lose sight of the fact that we are talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars being spent. And the argument that, some of the money comes from a grant does not change the fact that it's public money. If they were given money, let them spend that amount. So basically what this comes down to is the police department that has done all kinds of horrific things to this community and hasn't shown any interest in cleaning itself up, okay? Being over and over and again, being given more and more money and being given more ways to build and bolster itself as an institution, even though nothing has happened in the way of accountability at all yet. I am against this. I don't think that they need to get an airplane. The officer doing their presentation, he talked about how, it can help save lives, that are lost from high-speed police chases. Well, when those deaths take place, law enforcement, their tone is very different. And that's the irony, is that he uses that as an argument for getting all of this money so they can get their neat toy. But where was that kind of rhetoric, Where's that kind of rhetoric when those deaths take place? I just think it's hypocritical. If this department was actually willing to do something, you know, I mean, what we see all of these events taking place and all these warning signs. Why was nothing done when Lamontia killed his fourth person? He was right back on the street to stalk, ambush, or murder Trevor Seaver. You know, I just think it's ridiculous, and I think that you can use what do you call it? Sorry, I'm tired. It's been a long day. The things that hover around in the sky, the stupid toy things that have cameras on them, drones. I don't see any reason why you can't just, you know, acquire more advanced drones and survey the city that way. We don't need to give you hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's going to be an ongoing expense. And I think it's just a big part of the bigger picture of you giving more and more money to MPD to make it bigger and stronger. In the meantime, it hasn't done anything to make us feel more confident they're not going to just murder us in a front yard.
All right. Next is Brittany Chavez.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
So you guys are going to fund the corrupt again? You're going to go ahead and you're going to give them more funds for toys that they don't need, nor do they deserve. They can't hold accountable their own police officers, but they want to hold accountable people. But that's not true, because the officers murder people. They don't hold anybody accountable. They murder people.
Please cut
That
it
is
off.
freaking ridiculous. It's not right. You really need to consider where your money goes. Even if it's coming from grants and all this other stuff. Again, there's no reform. You're not training anybody to do the right thing. There's no better tactics. Instead, you applaud them and say, here is this brand new big toy. So that way, one of the things was for car shows, and somebody spoke about how, because those can be dangerous. No, what's dangerous is giving things to corrupt police officers and chiefs when they can't even hold their own officers accountable. That is ridiculous. They do not deserve anything. If any money is going to be used for anything, it's to reform those officers. They need to be retrained. They need to know how, when there's a distress call, that you go over there and you talk to somebody and you don't demand with your gun already pointed out. Being so many feet away from a school, in front of a civilian's house, that you didn't even know that their 5 kids weren't even in there. It's ridiculous, and you know it. I really, you guys need to reconsider it. It should not go through at all. They don't deserve it at all. I mean, you guys still ain't talking about reform or retrain, so where's that at? Why can't we fund that? Why can't we fund the police department to do better, to do what's right, to actually make sure that accountability serves? But you want to fund them over $700,000 for the plane, on top of over $300,000 a year to service it, and then they want all these gadgets to go with it too. And if you're going to get them anything, it should be a darn helicopter or drones, not whatever. I don't even know what the name was that you called it. But it's baloney, and you guys know it. I'm done.
Next is Joseph Cabral.
Hey, thank you, Mayor. And I know you guys really don't answer, but Chief, of course I'm on Zoom, I could see you there. Really glad that you mentioned the partnership between you and the Sheriff's Office, because just as a citizen, I chimed in, perfect timing. We'd love to see After Forward together, like you guys in leadership really build that partnership. Because I just got a simple question. Let's just say the airplane was not an option. You quoted it, your other officer, Valencia, $741,578. what would that do? I mean, if it's for equipment to, again, better the community. And again, my brain is kind of set on the forward together. Like, I still think the seeds have been planted. I think little things are starting to grow. But again, man, $741,000, 578. Just like say the simple question, if the plane wasn't an option, what would that money be used for? Thanks for the time.
You're welcome. Next, Angela Dallas. Angela Dallas. Looks like you're on mute. No?
Unable to mute. Unable to unmute.
Oh,
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. Good evening, Mayor and council members. I was going on and on. But anyway, like I was saying, most of my questions were answered by the first gentleman and the report that was provided by the officer. But I do have a couple questions and thoughts. Regarding the Redlands, when they had their aircraft and the gentleman said they no longer have it, I would like to know some data around that. How long they had the aircraft, what was its benefits to their community. Also, you know, the officers cited maybe 2 or 3 different police departments that has a plane. That seems a little low. I don't know if that means the industry is on the move to getting these type of aircrafts, or if it's something that's really not looked at because they're not as beneficial as a helicopter. So I would like to see more information on other police departments, not just in California, but other places, and how these crafts have benefited them. I just briefly looked at an article from Mother Jones talking about pros and cons of aerial policing. And it's a very interesting article. I think the first gentleman mentioned about the aircrafts out of that the police department uses in LA, and the LA Police Department and the Sheriff's Department. Upwards of 7, 8 helicopters. And no great benefit. I mean, it's a mixed bag of goods. So I'm with the gentleman in taking this matter, maybe tabling it, and doing a deeper dive. I think there needs to be more empirical data on how this craft has actually benefited communities. And also, one of the things that I noted was, where would this craft be housed? It's not like a helicopter that can just, you need a runway for an airplane. So anyway, close to the end of my time, but those were some thoughts and concerns that I have. I do believe it should be tabled. I don't think there are enough police departments using an aircraft, and Modesto is not that large. How would it work out with surrounding cities, Riverbank, Salida, Ceres, when they have incidents where our police, are they going to, pay for any services that we use this aircraft for in their communities? So I still think that there are a lot of unanswered questions, and it needs to be revisited. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Next is Teresa Clutter.
Hello?
Hello.
Hi. So, listening to all of the so-called benefits of this plane, aircraft, whatever it is, one of the things I heard was that it would help with mental illness situations. So my question is, how would it help? Because I feel like all it's doing is basically saying, they're over there, get them. So what kind of help would it provide to somebody who's actually having a mental breakdown crisis? What would this plane do to, I don't know, de-escalate maybe the situation? Would it make sure that the officers are aware that they're having a mental breakdown and that to proceed with caution and care? I would like to know how it would know this, other than the dispatch, because we all know that doesn't work. But there's much more things that the city could spend money on other than $750,000 on an aircraft to so-called fight crime. Maybe if this was Stockton, I would probably say, yeah, you probably need it over there. Modesto, I don't think we're quite there yet, Modesto. I think where we need to be is figuring out what the hell we're going to do with Modesto PD and how we're going to move forward being beneficial to our citizens. How are we going to put, I don't know, $750,000 into our community, into homeless, into mental crisis foundations or nonprofits and whatnot? What can we do for Modesto with $1 million other than give another toy to MPD so they have more permission to fly around and shoot more people? So yeah, if this was a vote or take this item 19 off the table, I am definitely saying take item 19 off the table, and I am definitely voting no. Thank you.
All right, next is Betty Santos.
Hello, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Good evening.
Okay. Good evening, Council and Councilwoman Mayor Sue. And I just wanted to comment on Chief Gillespie and Vice Chief Valencia for their presentation and the research that they've done on, trying to purchase a, aircraft for our community. I believe it's a great idea. They've done the research. And of course, when you purchase something, you're always going to have pros and cons, So anyways, what they're trying to do is they're just trying to benefit our community. And I live out in the country, and I tell you what, during the summer, springtime, summer, when the weather gets nice, you have longer hours. There's going to be more people doing things illegally. Right now, I drive to work. I see they do like their little sideshows out here in the four-way stops, and I live out here, in the community where there's almonds and there's, farmers and whatnot. So anyways, I just wanted to commend our police department, what they're doing and their choice, and I support them. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right. Are there any other members of the public that would like to comment on item 20? I do not see anyone in person. Online, I see Wendy Bird.
Good evening, Mayor. I have a couple questions too. It sounds to me like the main objective of the aircraft is more for surveillance and data collection. And I'm wondering what the jurisdiction is. Let's take a hypothetical situation, for example. Say if a person is speeding down McHenry and you want to stop or apprehend that person, how far, and this person just continues to go, and let's say they even jump on the freeway and they get on the highway going towards the Bay Area. How far is this aircraft allowed to go and follow, and how will it be used to help stop or apprehend that person?
All right. Maybe would you like to address some of the questions that we've heard in public comment?
I think that's important too, because I've heard a lot of good questions from the public, but what I haven't heard is a lot of good answers yet. And I think that if you really want to build support and trust for the aircraft, you have to spend a little bit more time answering all of these questions that people are having, that are calling on, which is really good questions.
Yeah, so from your comments, I kind of got two questions out of that. Number one, is that the aircraft would be focused mostly on surveillance and gathering data, and that's far from the use that we want. We want it to be a proactive tool in the sky and respond to calls for service. That would be its primary mission. If we receive a 911 call, for example, of a burglary taking place at a residence, this aircraft with the camera could be there in a matter of seconds and give live information to the officers on the ground that are responding. If those people flee, then the aircraft can maintain visual observance of those individuals until we can get a patrol car to stop. So its primary focus would be to be proactive and be that patrol car in the sky. It's no different than what ground units would do. The second question, it was kind of a hypothetical. If we observed a traffic violator and then they fled and they got on the freeway, what we would do, and it's protocol that we do now, is then we would relay that information to the highway patrol if it was on a freeway and allow them to then continue following the vehicle if they so desired. With that much information, we would think that we would be able to get the license plate off this vehicle and get a search warrant for it at a later date and hold those people accountable that are doing traffic violations and fleeing from police and have some repercussions for doing so. So that, I think I answered both of those questions that you presented.
Okay, so it seems like, would the plane have already been in the air, or does it take off? Does this plane just like circle in the air all day for 8 hours or so?
Well, yeah, it's not going to. You can only be up in the air so long before people need restroom breaks and lunch and all that. So no, it wouldn't fly for 8 hours. But the point is to do have an asset up in the air. It's no use if it's parked in the hangar, something occurs and then you have to take off, and that takes several minutes, if not 10 to 15 minutes to do. So the point of it is to have it up in the air, available to respond for calls for service. When it's not doing that, like I said, we can use it in our intelligence-based policing model, where we identify through data of hotspot areas where we're experiencing vehicle break-ins, home burglaries. If we can identify a pattern and be able to use this asset to help reduce crime in those areas, then that's how we'll use it.
Okay, so do you predict that the plane will be in the air how many hours per day?
To start off with, we're looking at about 4 to 5 hours per day. Not all at the same time. Obviously, like I stated, people need restroom breaks, time to eat, and do reports as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, thank you. Next online is Jenny. Jenny?
She needs to unmute.
All right, Jenny, you need to unmute.
I'm sorry. I should know that by now. Most of my questions I had some questions. I don't think can't remember. The contract is for how long? And since we're answering the question, that was one of them. I'm sure it was said and then it slipped my mind or I didn't hear it. Because I think it's, if it's like most contracts that the city goes into, it's for a shorter period of time and then we can extend it if we want to. And I think that it's something we probably should try. I know the Highway Patrol can get you for speeding way up there in the sky. And it sounds like a lot of money, but it also will probably save lives. I believe that this will keep a lot of people not so much from being but I think knowing that there's something more up there that will make people want to hopefully abide the laws, and we definitely need some more control especially at our intersection. So I basically feel that it's money worthwhile. I don't think you could have put a price on someone's life. So I am very much in favor of this.
Thank you. you want to respond about the contract?
Yeah, as far as the contract, this would be an outright purchase for the Modesto Police Department, City of Modesto. So it'd be an asset that we would own and operate on a yearly basis.
All right. Thank you. Any other public comments? In person? Is there anyone else with their hand raised online? All right, at this time we will take it back to our council. Comments from council members regarding this item. David Wright.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, I have a couple questions that have been raised. The gentleman talked about buying a helicopter, for $800,000, $900,000. If we did that, or even if we bought another plane, how much was? My understanding, it would cost us about an additional $1 million to equip it with all the cameras and everything we need. Is that correct?
That is correct. If we would buy a helicopter or an airplane that's not already equipped, we would have to source that equipment, and for the camera alone and the installation would probably be close to $1 million.
Yes. Okay. And then my second and last question is, have we checked with the manufacturer on availability of parts if this plane has been discontinued? What's the availability for parts down the road?
Yes. So we've actually contacted, I believe, Sergeant Hicks has spoken to the owner of the company, Gyps Aero, and they're in transition. They were bought out by an Indian company called Mahinder Air, and it's now transitioning back to Gyps Aero out of Australia. Like I stated, there are other public safety agencies that use this airplane. There's about 260, I believe, around the world, and they're still being supplied with parts and whatever's needed. The interesting part about aircraft is that the airframe is specific to that manufacturer, but all the other components are common. And so the engine in this aircraft is used by other manufacturers. The avionics is also used by other manufacturers to create their own aircraft. So there's not very many specific items that are Gyps Aero. There are, but the tires are another item that, other aircraft that use. So sourcing of different parts has not been an issue for any of the other agencies that use this aircraft.
Great, that answers my question. Thank you.
All right. Councilmember Scudia Brayton.
Thank you, Mayor. I, for one, am in support of purchasing this aircraft, mainly for, again, the benefits that I indicated earlier are immense and will serve our workforce well. And also, I understand this is it's a purchase that is coming to us. It's not going to be on the table for long. It's if we don't buy it, it's going to be purchased by someone else. If we were to table this today and choose to move forward with it down the road, it may no longer be available. And if we choose to buy a similar aircraft, it's going to be exponentially more expensive. So right place, right time to buy this particular aircraft as compared to a helicopter. As I understand it, it's a good fit, this particular aircraft, for Modesto and Modesto's needs for reasons that you indicated in your presentation. I understand that one of the benefits of a helicopter is for search and rescue missions because of the feature that it goes up and down. I don't believe this aircraft does that, but nor is that a tremendous need in the Modesto work. Correct me if I'm wrong. But even if we did have that need, we could always partner with our sheriff colleagues to utilize their helicopter if that service was to be required. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, so for those reasons, I think it's a good, sound purchase for Modesto at this time, and for those reasons, I plan on supporting it. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Councilmember Bavaro.
Thank you, Mayor. Can you discuss one more time, because this one speaker said, had a question when the plane is making a turn that we're going to lose contact with the suspect. Can you talk again about how the camera works on zooming in, even though the plane is making a U-turn, or not a U-turn, but a turn?
Yeah, that's correct. So the airplane, the camera tracks separately from the airplane. It's on a gimbal system. controlled by computer and stabilized. And so the airplane can be facing north and the camera can still be facing south. And as the airplane's turning or making its motion, the locking mechanism or the locking technology on that aircraft will stay on whatever we want to focus on. And so even if the airplane's turning, that camera, it has the ability to turn and stay on target as it's doing orbits. So it's the technology doing the work of the helicopter of orbiting a small area. The camera's doing the work.
Thank you. And one final thing. Excuse me. This police management is in support of this support of this purchase. Also, the Modesto Police Officers Association, in discussion with me, is 100% behind this purchase. And I will then, along with other colleagues, will be supporting the purchase of this airplane. Thank you, Mayor.
Vice Mayor Ricky.
Thanks, Mayor. I think this camera technology that we're talking about here, it's almost like a military grade, right? It's a pretty high grade camera. Is that? It's not available to the public. Is that right?
It's not available to the public, and locally, agencies that have them are other police departments. Like I stated, the PG&E utility companies have them as well because of the thermal imaging. It allows them to pick up heat sources on their power lines. And then the news agencies or news outlets, they have them as well. You see them when they report high-speed pursuits or critical incidences or helicopter overhead. They have that same technology.
Gotcha. I'm going to be supporting this. I'm especially interested in the ability to answer calls in motion and the fact that the air unit will be able to respond significantly faster than the ground units. I think that alone could result in a pretty dramatic reduction in crime, and I think that's why we're all here. So I support this, and I also want to say I applaud you for your choice in terms of getting a plane that's a good deal with equipment that's a good deal. Modesto is a city that is not, we're just not cash rich. So this is a really thoughtful recommendation that fits our city well.
Thank you.
All right, Councilmember Williams.
Yes, Assistant Chief Valencia, can you talk a little bit about the pilot recruitment?
So there are different models that are used, and some agencies or public safety agencies have a volunteer model where they have volunteers for their pilots. Other agencies such as Alameda County, they have part-time positions available where they hire commercially rated pilots to fly the aircraft. And then others use internal people, candidates from within the police department that either have already the training or departments put them through the training. We felt that at this time to start this program, it would be best to use part-time commercially rated pilots. Volunteers, although that's great. You can't always verify their training. Commercially rated pilots already have the required training, the flight instrument abilities, and so for us, liability purpose. Also, insurance rates go up if you're not commercially rated. As a public entity, we are able to fly under public use, and that allows us to say, I could pick anybody and say, you're flying the airplane today, and we won't be questioned about it, but if something does happen, then the liability goes towards us. And what type of training that individual will have, what are his ratings, how much time does he have in that specific aircraft? So I think to me it just makes sense, even just starting this program, that we do it with commercially rated pilots, pilots that are familiar with this aircraft, to start it.
Thank you.
All right, any other members? Oh, Councilmember Alvarez.
Thank you, Mayor. That's a good point that my colleague, Councilmember Williams, just made. And I've heard of the nationwide pilot shortage as well. Has an analysis been conducted on any shortages here locally? Are we prepared with a pipeline of potential volunteers? Do we have people logged that could potentially hop on and say, hey, I'm willing to take this responsibility on, or are we just hoping that we get volunteers?
No, we've definitely put feelers out there, and there's different people that are interested. There's people that are retired law enforcement pilots that already have the training expertise. Flying is still a passion for them, and so there's those candidates. There's also commercially rated pilots that are here locally that would like to add hours I don't know what the cutoff is, but after a certain amount of hours, you start being eligible to fly with airlines or whatnot. So there's definitely a pipeline of people that could be used.
So for clarification, are we using volunteers or no?
No, it'd be part-time paid pilots.
All right, that's what I
So
wanted clarified.
another point of clarification, these are part-time civilian pilots or part-time sworn officer pilots?
They'd be civilian pilots. If they were sworn at one time, they're now retired.
Point of clarification, officer.
I'm good, thank you.
All right, Councilmember Bavaro.
Point of clarification, these are going to be 1099.
Thank you. I've been here 3 months and I can't still figure it out. Okay. These will be 1099 employees, not employees of the city of Modesto, the pilots, correct?
Well, we can go different routes. We can do what San Joaquin County contracts out individuals to provide that service. As I mentioned, Alameda County actually has a part-time job classification for pilots to operate their aircraft. And so we would quickly have to decide which route to go.
And I think a good point is that should this be approved tonight, as the Assistant Chief said, we've had interest from people saying if this goes through, we would potentially want to come fly for you on a part-time basis. So if this does go through, we'll be working with our Human Resources Department to determine if it's best to do some type of professional services agreement, bring them on part-time. We'll work out those details.
Or contracted labor,
Or contracted
1099.
labor. We intend to work out those details, what fits best for us with our Human Resources Department, but we do have several people that already have expressed interest in showing locally to be pilots.
Thank you, Mayor.
All right, any other comments from council members? I just have 2 things to note of why this is very appealing to me and why I will support it is the potentially pursuits being called off on the ground, which will save lives, officers' lives, those being pursued, and also innocent bystanders, which we know recently, and some of you may not remember, but there have been some situations where this would have been extremely beneficial. And that's one of the main reasons that I think that it will be so valuable. And also that camera. I am really going to be interested to see how that operates. That just sounds like that technology is something that we should take advantage of. So I'm really grateful for your research. So we have a resolution approving the purchase of a JIPS Aero G88 airplane from CNC Technologies, Oak Park, California, for a total amount not to exceed $741,578, and authorizing the city manager or his designee to execute the agreement and other necessary documents. Do I have a motion?
Move to approve. Second.
Motion by Councilmember Escudia Brayton and second by Vice Mayor Ricky. Will the clerk please call the roll? Oh, was it? I'm sorry. Second by Councilmember Alvarez.
Such competition.
Councilmember Escudia Brayton. Aye. Councilmember Alvarez.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Ricky.
Aye.
Councilmember Bavaro.
Aye.
Councilmember Williams.
Absolutely.
Councilmember Wright.
Aye.
And Mayor Wallen.
Aye, so it carries unanimously. All right, are there any matters too late for the agenda? Seeing none, I am calling this meeting of the City Council to be adjourned.